You're watching 8 News Now at 6:30.
Welcome back, everybody. We want to now talk to Craig Knight. Craig is the general manager over at KCEP Power 88 radio station. Been in Las Vegas since 1980. Very involved in our community. Craig, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And I want to say I commend Channel 8 for doing this.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you for spending some time with us. The first thing I'd like to address is the message of the protest. I've had reporters tell me they feel like 98% of the people out there are peaceful protesters. It's only 2% that is really causing the chaos, really a fringe element. For the main majority that is really trying to get that message across, how do we make sure we as Americans hear that?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's sad because we have our young people, like our sons and our daughters out there on the front line, and they really see the injustice that's going on with this case. I mean, many cases, with the latest being George Floyd, and they're trying to express themselves and look for justice. And then you have people that's hijacking the message, and they're agitators, vandalizing, rioting, and they're actually trying to distract with the messages and take it away and make it about protesters being rioters, and that is not the case. You know, they really believe in what they're doing. As a matter of fact, during the time the president was making his announcement, they were protesting peacefully out in front of the White House, and it was very disturbing because in his speech he said that he supports peaceful protesters. And then right after he said that, and they was showing a split screen, all of a sudden the military and the police started using tear gas and rubber bullets to move the protesters out of the way. And they were peaceful. And it turned out that he did that so he could do a photo op in front of a church, which has been denounced by one of the bishops out there.
And we did.
So I think it's. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, but we did report on that earlier. I know exactly what you're talking about it in terms of what happened a little bit earlier this evening. But I'm curious if we kind of harken back and circle back to when you were a kid in the Bronx. And if you think about that and your experience then, and then look at now, how much better is the situation? Is it the same? Is it possibly even worse? In your personal experience, how would you describe it?
Well, a lot is the same, because every time we have a situation, after the situation, we have to talk to our sons and our daughters about how to handle themselves. And after that situation, like this one here, and they're ready to protest, we have to give them instructions and everything. But a lot of things are the same. And what makes it the same is that every time a situation happens, it seems like the police officers walk or get off or nothing happens. And everybody is trying to do the right thing. We're trying to teach our kids to always do the right thing, say the right things, and try to live a good life. But then when they see this kind of stuff, they feel frustrated and they feel like it's not fair, because they're trying to do the right thing, but it's not fair in their eyes to see people get away with certain things.
Craig, you're a leader at Power 88. You're a leader in our community. What do you think is really the path forward? Can you maybe give some concrete examples of what you think needs to happen, how this protest going on around the country can engender this necessary change? What's the path forward?
The path forward is, first of all, communication. You know, we need to be heard. We always feel like that we protest, any way we protest, if we protest peacefully, like for instance, Colin Kaepernick, he kneeled at an NFL game and it was peaceful, but that wasn't right. So now you have these different type of protests, and it seems like no matter how we protest, it's never right and it never turns out right. And it just seems like the same thing just keeps happening over and over again without no real change. So this right now, I think what can happen is, now that we have everyone's undivided attention in the middle of a pandemic at that. So you know how serious this is. If people are protesting and their health is in jeopardy in the middle of a pandemic, that's how upset and angry everyone is. We just need to see, starting with justice, with these 4 officers that did this to Mr. Floyd, it can start right there. Once the community starts seeing justice and that, yes, no one is above the law, then you can start moving on as far as changing policy that's going to be more equal, and just feeling like we're not second-class citizens. that we are part of the American dream, you know, but unfortunately, we, you know, to be honest, we live in two different Americas. It's two different Americas. And we always see the second-class citizen side. And I mean, that's the best way I can put it. And that's where the frustration always comes from, because we try to work hard, we try to get careers, we try to get education, we try to do everything right, but it always seems like we find ourselves right back to square one because no one is listening, no one really cares, and you know, it gets frustrating, and it's a lot of anger, it's a lot of pain, it's a lot of hurt, and we feel for these families that always suffer on the bad end, because we have sons and daughters too. I have 4 sons and 2 grandsons. I have 4 sons. I fear for them every time they leave the house. I hope that they do the right thing that we taught them. If they get pulled over, keep your hands on the 10 and 2. Say yes, sir, no, sir. Don't do any sudden moves. And these are talks that we have with our children that a lot of people, other people, don't have to have with their children. Some people don't even know that we're having these talks with our children because they never had to do that.
Craig, we're going to get wrapped up here, but I just want to get one quick question answered from you. For those that are watching that have never experienced racism in their lives, that are watching right now, what can you impart to them? What can they do to show the black community that they do care? What does the black community need from them right now?
Right now, we need for you to listen, and we need for, first of all, stop saying that you're not a racist, okay? We don't need to hear that. What we need to know is that, are you anti-racist? Because anti-racist will make you have to have action. There's action behind that. Every time you hear racism, you speak up. Every time you see racism, you stand up, and you stand with us because it's not right. See, every black person is not a criminal, right? Every police officer is not bad, okay? So we got to look at that. We have to look at it for what it is. You know, either you're racist or you're anti-racist. And I think once we break that down, everyone can see clearly what we're going through and what we feel and what our frustrations are.
Beautifully said, Craig, and I do appreciate your time, and I know our viewers and those watching do as well. Look forward to talking to you again. Please stay safe and stay well, and thank you again. Craig Knight of Power 88.
Thank you.